Welcome back to our morning show studios. Today we have another friend that has stopped by. J.B. Mueller is here, representing Salvation Army, the upcoming Red Kettle Campaign. Jay, it's that time of year again.
Yes, it's that time of year. They seem to go fast. Before you know it, it's right here. Of course, the preparation and the winding up, it takes probably about 3 months when we start to when we finish in January, getting all the books done and stuff like that. So it's quite a project.
When do you start ringing then?
We start ringing Black Friday at Walmart, both doors, and we'll be ringing every Friday and Saturday through December, which would be the 6th, 7th, the 13th, the 14th, the 20th, the 21st, and this year we're going to extend it into the 23rd on Monday, just before Christmas. And also, to the folks down at Walsh's Ace Hardware, they'll be hosting the veterans. Will be ringing for Salvation Army, and they'll be down at Walsh's on Friday the 6th and 7th of December. So that's the dates, and we usually run from 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night.
Tell me about if someone is interested in being a part of this.
Well,
you just pick an hour, or how does
well,
it work?
you can either ring an hour, or you can take 2 hours, as much as you want and stuff. This year we're concentrating on Saturdays for the 4-H groups, but we'll take anybody. 4-H group, Honor Society, Key Club, different organizations such as that. But yeah, you can ring just 1 hour, or you can ring 2, or whatever you want.
A lot of times, the weather, you have no control over that. There's some days where it's a piece of cake out there, and other days where it's a little chilly.
Last year it was real good to start out with. Then it kind of ended up, of course, where Walmart's at, the wind's always blowing there constantly all the time. Always thought maybe it'd be nice if they would have built it over back where Phil back forward is, but that's not to be. And we have a trait in this county that other counties don't have. The stations are heated. I have little foot warmers and heaters by each station so that you can warm up. If you're ringing by yourself, that helps you keep warm and stuff. And if you're ringing with 2 people, instead of sitting on the weather, you can have one go inside. You can't ring inside, but they can go inside and warm up.
I think some people are a little bit unique in their presentation. I've gone by, and some people are singing carols. And
we have one gentleman, Mr. Mike Burns. I don't know if he's getting up there in years and stuff, but he always usually brings his tambourine and the guy who plays guitar. And bless their hearts, the thing about it is that when their time is up, they want to do one more song. I just let them go out, because what they'll do is they'll put out candy canes for the kids and stuff, and really kind of make it festive, and people really enjoy that. Matter of fact, one day I was at the other end when they were putting on their performances, and the kid stuck his head out the door of a truck and said, "Why aren't you singing?" I said, "Well, jingle bells," so they gave me a couple bucks to quit, so that's as far as my career went.
That sounds like a great opportunity there.
Yeah.
Fundraiser for the future. Why do you get involved with Salvation Army, Jay?
Pardon?
Why do you get involved with this?
I retired. And I think I was retired for about 15, 20 minutes when the phone rang. Kathy Ehorn was running it, and then she turned it all over to me. It's just a campaign that I like. I like Salvation Army because of the way they operate. I like the idea that the money collected from November to the end of December stays right in Richland County. Their operating budget is 85%, 82 to 85% of your dollar stays here. The rest of them are for administrative costs and stuff like that. But the unique thing about Salvation Army, I not only solicit funds coming in, I also see where it goes and what good it does.
Okay. And so what are some examples of where
Examples is get behind an electrical bill or utilities. We help with that. Gift cards for gas, gift cards for sometimes to help with maybe a month's rent if you're down, or else a down payment to get into a house. So it broadens all over the area. And another thing, too, is that I started a charity out of St. Barnabas called the Bridge of Hope. So I actually store stuff down there, but also store extra blankets and stuff for people that may have a fire emergency. The thing about it is this year, all of them are stretched in because of Florida and the Carolinas. And what's unique about the Salvation Army is Red Cross, which is a great organization. They'll come in and they'll help people that are displaced by a disaster. Or Salvation Army will come in with mobile kitchens and help the ones that are helping the others. When we had our second 100-year flood in Richland Center, I was actually the head of emergency systems for the city of Richland Center, and we had what was called a control room, which was in courthouse basement, where we dictated where everybody's go, sandbags or what have you. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there, all of a sudden this gentleman's handing out sandwiches, coffee, water and stuff. And here it was a mobile kitchen that Salvation Army had to take care of the volunteers or the people that are helping the other people. So it was really, a lot of people don't know that, but people that volunteer in these disasters also need some type of relief, and Salvation Army supplies that.
So someone comes in from the outside in a case like that?
Yes. But we've helped with, like, people have lost everything in their fires for the homes. We help partnership with Red Cross to get vouchers for maybe motel rooms so they can stay there, or food and stuff, other stuff that they need until they can get back on their feet and get into another house and stuff. We've done that several times, so we're always ready to help people that are in a time of need. And the thing about it is, what I noticed a lot of it is that a lot of cases that we get when I help out or Christy helps out is that what happens is that they might get sick and they can't work. And I've seen cases where we help them out for a certain amount of time, and then they get back on their feet, and then they're fine. And usually they like to give a little something back to Salvation Army, but there are cases after cases of that where they are helping people, but they're not too vocal about, we're just here. And what I do is when somebody calls me that wants help, I can normally petition Salvation Army directly through email to get them help, because if you call a number, it sometimes goes to an answering machine, and it takes a little bit to get to. And sometimes these situations need to be immediately addressed. So I broker with them, and I go ahead and get a hold of Salvation Army and see what we can do for these people.
That was my next question, too. How are you aware of it? If somebody doesn't call you, or do law enforcement, do they call you sometimes, or how do you know?
Well, actually, what happens is that I'm in close contact with ADRC and social services, so I'll get calls from caseworkers there. And what they'll do is they'll give me an instant. Everything is confidentiality. They'll give me somebody that might be in need of something, and then they give me their phone number, and I call them directly, and I talk to them and see exactly what agencies in Richland Center can help them, whatever kind of situation they're in. And the thing about it is, a lot of these agencies were specific to Richland County. We don't usually do other counties when it comes to these agencies, but we do have resources. For like Sauk County, Vernon County, and Grant County, where you can contact your local county to get help and stuff. But normally I get calls right from the phone through Bridge of Hope, and then I can direct them from there, or the ADRC, or sometimes word of mouth. I've gotten references or referrals from Richland Center High School on some families, and normally we can help them out and get them in a better place.
If there's a bad fire, right. Obviously you're aware of that as well.
Mm-hmm. With being right in town and stuff like that, I know exactly, like the one fire was on Main Street, that the house was completely destroyed. So I knew the house because I used to live there a long time ago. And I knew right then that, we could help. So I stopped by, and I see that the couple, I think they had one child and pets that got lost in the fire. But I see them outside, so I talked to them, and we got arranged so that they could get into a motel. And Salvation Army, along with Red Cross, we were able to get them back on their feet. Eventually, they did find a house, so they are. That's been a couple of years ago, but that's the type of stuff that we do.
Bell ringing, it goes on all over the country, obviously. Yeah. Is it different here in the local area than it is?
Well, the only thing that's different is that, and you get in the bigger cities, they got the uniforms on stuff. I don't have a uniform. It's called a parka. But the thing about it is, the Red Kettle is a symbol all over the world of people to give. And it started out in a different state somewhere where this man wanted to feed 1,000 people, but he didn't know how to do that. So what he did, he set up a big cauldron and just had people bring in stuff like for stew and stuff like that. And he eventually fed 1,000 people, and that's where the kettles come up from. And so it's an international symbol, and as soon as you get that red kettle out, everybody knows right away that's Salvation Army. And Richland County is unique because there's 9 counties in our district, 9 counties. We constantly, every year, come in the top 5. And we have a small resource to draw from. Some of these other towns have a couple Walmarts, they have several quick trips where we've only got several, but still we remain on the top 5 that bring in money for Salvation Army.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that if you donate to the Salvation Army, you can call my phone number, which is 608-647-3169. If you do donate and call me for a donation, the only thing you have to do is make sure on the check and the memo part, right, Richland County, and that makes sure that it will go to Richland County. If it doesn't, it goes to the general disaster fund. But normally, to this time of year, that's November and December, it stays in our county.
So many people don't carry cash anymore.
Well, we did fix that this year. Well, we're getting there. We have now, each station will have a phone ID, so you can donate on the phone. We haven't done that in the past, but now it's getting more prevalent. We have to kind of step up our game a little bit because a lot of phone numbers people change phone numbers all the time. Some are landlines that they don't answer their answer machine anymore, or some have passed away. So we've got to kind of step up by using the internet more and by using the phone to make donations right at the station. So I call them stations, pods. So you can just put your phone out and you can donate to a certain amount, and that also remain in Richland County. They know just exactly what county that's coming from and stuff, so they can go ahead and apply it to our funds.
I'm presuming that you potentially could get bigger donations that way too, because
and the thing about it is I still go through all the coins, because there's been instances where coins have made it into the kettles that are not ordinary coins. They're actually worth more money than what the coin represents. So that's happened several times, and I get anonymous donations and stuff, which they do remain anonymous, and so we're kind of stepping up that game, like all the high schools and stuff, like Richland Center High School and Ithaca High School. I'm starting to communicate more through the emails, so that way there I can get to them, tell them what dates are open, what time slots are open, and we can communicate by then. And then I've got a record just exactly what dates are going to ring and stuff. So we're stepping into that part of it, and it's something that we have to progress if we're going to keep up with the times, because the need is getting greater every year with the economy the way it is, with inflation. It's catching people between a rock and a hard place. Matter of fact, I know that Jerry Bauer from the food pantry has been here, and their numbers have increased so to such a amount that they have to be careful what they get out. They're still giving out lots of food, but they're still, because every one of these charities, whether it be Bridge of Hope, be Salvation Army, whether it be the food pantry, we use this money this time of year to catalyst through the whole year around. So this is when we make our big drive. This is when people, give the most, and the government actually has upped their percentage of how much you can deduct, because they've adjusted it for inflation. So a lot of these are tax deductible, where before it would be a little bit more restrictive when you do the flat rate type.
Yeah, Jerry Bauer was in, and not only are the numbers up, but the cost of food is
cost
tougher
of food
too.
And I know I run a personal budget at home, because a lot of people are on fixed incomes. I'm on a fixed income, and a lot of people I deal with are on a fixed income. So I ran myself a budget where I list everything that I spend during the month, during the weeks, and where it's spent and how much. It's food. Food is the biggest item on there. Because, of course, we own our house and cars and stuff like that, but it can really catch you in a squeeze. And the thing about it is when people have to apply for government programs, either through ADRC, it takes a while to get that ball rolling. We're talking Badger Care, we're talking share cards, or trying to get Social Security disability. It takes a lot of time. So some of these we can help with that gap, which helps people until they can get that benefit in, because it happens quite often.
I'm curious, you talked about, accepting rare coins from time to time. Every year there's a story where maybe a diamond ring shows up in there. Have you ever had anything
Nothing like that? It's just that you don't know. You really don't. And the thing about it is that coins are becoming a little bit shy when it comes to donating. It's mostly bills. And one thing that gets me, and I like to get children involved, because I think if you teach your children how to give to those less fortunate, I think that follows in generations, so they're apt to do it. Their parents help them do it, then they're apt to follow too. The one thing that when I'm ringing, what I'll do is somebody will be there ringing, and I said, "Watch this," and they'll watch, and I said, "Watch this man get out of the car, or this woman get out of the car," and as soon as you ring that bell, that wallet comes out. And just because they like to give them Salvation Army, because a lot of World War II veterans, Sally, I call her Sally for short, but helped out during their time when they come back from World War II and stuff. So it helps a lot of people across the board. And like I said, Richland County is a very giving county. I'm surprised. Last year I thought we were going to be a little short, but we ended up, when you come down to the wire, we did okay. We can always do more, but we're thankful for what we get, and we can cover people that are in need.
You have some ringers that have been doing it for a long time. They are real ringers, but I think about some of the, Jean Burkett comes to mind.
Yeah, Jean Burkett,
over the years,
she's 96. I don't think she'll be ringing this year. She likes to chit-chat a lot when she's out there, so. But also another good ringer. I've had some that have passed away. Phyllis Keller was great. So I had them all the way from 95, 94 years old, all the way down to Boy Scout groups, 4-H groups, which are synonymous in helping to get blocks of time done. So it follows the whole gamut of ringers. And the thing that always gets me, and I got a lot of the ringers too, well, the ones that look like they don't have a lot of money, they're the ones who give generously. Mm-hmm. Because some people realize, and I've had people tell me this when I'm ringing, that I help you because they help me, and which is great.
Yeah, that's why you do it.
That's why you do it, yeah.
You'd encourage groups. You mentioned Boy Scouts and, some high school groups. Always room for more, right?
Always room for more. And sometimes I schedule them like on Saturdays. Uh-huh. But if they can't do Saturdays, we can still do Fridays in the afternoon after school and stuff. So we still got that 4 to 6 o'clock block that they can come and they can donate their time.
So one person up to how many?
Well, the thing about it is that they get more. Let's say they get like a 4-H group, and there's perhaps there's 6 of them. We'll split them and put 3 at one door and 3 at the other door. I keep track of the kettles. I call them buckets, but kettles. And I do it by half shifts, and so I can determine just exactly what side is the strongest on which day, and I can do adjustments to keep one. If I have to close the side, which I have before, if I have to close the side, I know which one brings in the least money, but they all bring in a good amount of money.
And then you empty them from time to time during the day. Then
we empty them. I have this year. They don't know it yet, but I have convinced a family member that I got an official tag for him so that he can pick up the money in the half shifts. Because I was doing it, I can have him pick up at the end of the shifts too and bring the money to me. But I had to give him a badge because the first time I sent him in, people didn't know who he was. So I asked Christy, I said, can I have a tag for him so they know that this is the person? And he said, yeah. So I'm getting more and more, so I'm delegating some of this stuff because I don't like to be cold, but I will stand out there and ring for a couple hours and stuff like that. But I still like it. I still get a big kick out of it.
You mentioned the veterans groups. They're going to be working at Walsh's then?
They're going to be at Walsh's the 6th and 7th of December. Great bunch of guys. What they do is their chapter will divide up to 2 days, and they take turns ringing and stuff. And then one time, Mr. Walsh was very generous, said, well, they can ring inside, they want to. And the veterans said, no, we want to stay outside because we think we get more money that way. And which they do. They've done better every year. And Mr. Walsh is very good about accommodating the veterans. And Bud Deco and his group has really been good to Salvation Army.
Those hardy souls that are willing to stand out in inclement days, I think they do get more because people are like, wow, they're really going above and beyond, you know?
The joke I do is that somebody walk in and I say, oh, see, could you do me a favor? They kind of look at me and go, are my feet still there? Or if they got coffee, could you just pour that on there?
Pour it on the feet, yeah.
And one thing I get a kick out of, too, is that I'll take a young child with a boy or girl and stuff, and I'll say, would you like to ring the bell? And I give it to them. They give it a good shake. Oh, I said, I'll be calling you next year. You're a natural.
Well, I always think of the movie It's a Wonderful Life. You know, every time a bell ring, an angel gets his wings.
Yeah.
So you give a lot of angels wings.
A lot of angels. And somebody will say, how's it going? I say, well, it's great except for this ringing in my ears.
For a few days, I bet.
For a few days and stuff. But normally what we do, we're doing a big push for Good Friday and for our Black Friday and Saturday, the 29th and the 30th. We'd like to get them filled up because that's what I call prime weekend. And if we can get that filled up, then I start working on the next one. And then when I get down to the end, I'm doing the repeaters. And that's the ones you can't. I mean, I've got a couple one that ring regardless. They don't care if it's snow and stuff like that. One day we had called because of snow because the parking lot was darn near empty. But he said, do you still don't want me to ring? I said, no, go home and relax. But every time I call this person, he's always there, and he's always there for more on the block and stuff, and he's got a real good enthusiasm, and a lot of them do. They all do. And so a good bunch of people.
No doubt about it. You can always take more. And what's your number again, Jay?
My number is 608-647-3169. That's 608-647-3169.
And there's not really a deadline. You just need to get...
that's the dates that we ring, and I'm open this week and at the beginning of Thursday. And normally what happens is, here's what I like to call it as, get yourself a partner to come ring with you. And that's a lot, it's fun that way. And you get the camaraderie. Oh, that's a hard word for me to say. But it helps a lot in it, especially like next weekend, because there's all these craft fairs that are in town and stuff. So while you're come out and make a few bucks for those who are less fortunate, and then go out to eat and go to your craft fair. You know, it's a win-win.
Yes,
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does go by faster if you have somebody there with you too.
Yes, it does. Then you can. And the thing about it is that being in politics all those years, and with all these organizations, I know a lot of people. So, and there's some people that depend on my voice every year to be, on that phone and stuff, but they'll get used to the new person, whoever that might be.
Yeah. Thanks for all you do these years. Years.
You're welcome. Thanks to Richland Center for Richland County for all they do.
You got J.B. Mueller joining us, Salvation Army, the Red Kettle Campaign. And again, look for them on that first day. They'll be ringing on Friday, November 29th. November 29th and that weekend, Black Friday, and also Saturday. This is the morning show from WRCO.